Hi guys, so today is March 5th and tomorrow is our end of module test. So today we did a review packet to prepare for the test. Tonight's homework is number 1, B and F, number 2, B and C, and number 3, A and B. So I'm going to go over those problems, but also I handed out a review packet to everybody in the grade level, a blank one that had different numbers and different scenarios and problems in case anybody wanted, like if there was a specific problem that was still tricky, if you wanted extra practice, you know, you can do a problem or two on that additional packet and check your work if that helps you. So tonight we're going to focus on B, F, B, C, and A, B on the back side of the page. So B says 2/3 of 1/4. That's the same as 2/3 times 1/4. If we multiply across the top, we get 2. Multiply across the bottom, we get 12. I would accept 2/12, or we can reduce that and simplify it to 1/6 by dividing by 2 on the top, divide by 2 on the bottom. I'd accept either of those answers. For F, we have 1/5 divided by 3. So we learned before when we are dividing with fractions, we can stay, change, flip. So the 1/5 would stay. The division sign, we're going to change to a multiplication sign. And then 3 whole is really like 3/1. If we flip that, it becomes 1/3. Multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and I get 1/15 as my answer. Okay, number 2. We have decimals now. We're going to multiply 45 hundredths and 1 4/10. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 4 is 16. Plus 2 is 18. 4 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. Drop your bomb, kill your captain, sweep your deck. Sorry, that looks funny there. There's the 8. Okay, 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 0 is 0. Add them up. And count your digits in the decimals. Come in that many places. And I get 630 thousandths or 63 hundredths as my answer. Either answer, because that 0 can fall off the shelf there, so it could be 63 hundredths or 630 thousandths. All right, we have C now. 15 divided by, remember the number that comes first goes under the house. So 15 divided by 5 hundredths. We have to jump that decimal out of our divisor. So I jump 2 places to the right, and I want to jump this decimal 2 places to the right as well. Remember, with a whole number, the decimal comes to the right of the ones place. So when we jump it over, we end up with 2 empty baskets. Put an egg in each of those baskets. 5 doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 15 3 times. That 3 goes right above the 5 there. 3 times 5 is 15, and I subtract and get 0. I need to bring down this 0. And I say 5 times what gets me close to 0? 5 times 0 gives me exactly 0. And I subtract, and I need to bring down. Again, 5 times 0 gives me 0. I subtract and bring down. My answer here is 300. And the reason it's 300 is because we jumped that decimal over and then we bring it straight up. It ends up there. You don't really need that decimal written in with the number 300, but if we brought it straight up, that's where it would land. All right, so last but not least, we have number 3, AB. Fill in the chart by writing an equivalent expression. For A, 36 divided by, that looks like this, 36 divided by. And then we have the difference. Difference means subtraction, so I'm going to put parentheses because that's an answer word. The difference between 1 1/3 and 2/5. Here that word and we can get rid of. We know it's the difference, so we can substitute a subtraction symbol. So the entire expression starting at the beginning, 36 divided by, open up your parentheses. We have the difference between 1 1/3 and 2/5. So that's 1 1/3 minus 2/5. All right. Now we have 1/3 the sum of. Sum we know is addition. The sum of 1/4 and 1/5. When it says 1/3 the sum of, that's like 1/3 of the sum of. So 1/3 times, and then open your parentheses, the sum of 1/4 and 1/5. close parentheses. All right, and if you wanted like one extra one to practice, you didn't have to do C, but if you did C, let me show you what the answer would be. 3 1/4 times. So we have 3 1/4 times, and then here's the sum of 6 and 11. So that's 6 plus 11. All right, so those were the only problems we needed to do on this packet. But what I would like you to do is know that you should be going back and looking over all of the problems that we did in class, because even though you only had those problems for homework, you do have a test tomorrow. So it would be helpful to look back at some of the problems we did in class and really go back through and see how we solved them and why we did what we did in each problem. So our test tomorrow is very similar to the problems on here. I think if you spend some time and look over your review packet and maybe even identify which problems you need some extra practice with and use the other packet for the extra practice and check your work with the answer key that I stapled to it, you should be ready for tomorrow's test. We've done a lot of this stuff a lot in the past. So we've had plenty of practice, and we had a great review session today in class. So you should hopefully feel pretty confident walking into tomorrow's test. Have a great night, guys. See you later.